Welcome everyone to the Rules Team Rulings with 5th edition Rulebook Addendum and Errata video. So Black Chantry released some erratas and we're just going to go through them. Now there's nothing big in any of this, so I'll just go through it and yeah, just so everyone knows. Okay, so rule changes for default sect, okay, being, Camarilla, Sabbat, or Independence, or anything like that, okay? So the following cards have changed, and in these, all of them, they inherit the Sire's sect, except for creation rights. Over here, you'll see that the vampire is now explicitly Sabbat, okay? Dual form Nosferatu Bestial inherits the Sire's sect, so yeah, even Nosferatu, but the sect being what political lean they go towards, yeah. And third tradition progeny makes sense. The vampire is now explicitly Camarilla, seeing it's a tradition, yep. All right. Now with other cards, so 5th edition amendments, drawing cards. Whenever you are asked to draw from your crypt, move the top card from your crypt to your uncontrolled region. So I guess there were issues with people drawing from the bottom or the middle or doing something fancy. Look, I think it's good that we get a stock standard, this is what happened. So I didn't think this rule needed to be said, but it is good that it's in there, and yeah, we just get consistency, yeah? No little shenanigans, yeah? Right, requirements for playing cards. Unless explicitly stated, costs you pay must be paid with resources you control. You pull blood on vampires you control, cards in your ash heap, etc. For instance, you cannot play enticement if you do not control the edge, since you must burn it as a part of its cost. So no getting rid of cards just for the sake of getting rid of cards. You must be able to pay the cost, whatever that is. You can't just throw down a card saying I failed to pay the cost and oh look, I get to draw up. Nah, none of that. All right, you can't play a card unless you can pay for its cost. An exception is the rescue of vampire from torpor action, whose cost can be paid by the acting vampire or the rescue vampire, or the cost may be split between them. So when you go and rescue another vampire, you can use their blood instead of your resources, okay? And that's the only time that that's allowed. Performing an action. The term perform applies to the entire course of the action from the moment it is announced to the moment it is resolved. All right. An action that is performed can end up by being successful or not. Performing an action does not imply that the action is successful. All right. So attempting to perform a bleed, becoming unsuccessful due to a block, and then being able to untap somehow does not allow you to go for another bleed because you are unsuccessful in the first one. You get to bleed once per turn, and this is a prime example of the action being performed even whether it was successful or not. Now, political action cards, those cards simply say one vote rather than worth one vote, which was the wording used in older sets, okay? So when you play down a political card as an action and it's successful in regards to getting to the referendum stage where you're taking votes and saying what it will do, the card itself is worth one vote. It used to say worth one vote, it is one vote, and it has to be for it. It can't be against the vote if you choose to vote against it for some reason, which can happen as well. Quick reference, the disciplined blood sorcery is also called thaumaturgy in older sets. They are exactly the same. So I know there was a little confusion in changing the texts, but blood sorcery is thaumaturgy. All right. The clan Banu Hakim is called Asimite in older sets. They are exactly the same. And similarly, the clan Ministry, whose members are called ministers, are called followers of set in older sets. All right. Just in case there's some confusion. For instance, if a card requires a ready Banu Hakim, any ready Asimite will fulfill this requirement and vice versa. All right, let's continue on. Not too much to go now. We're getting on to the 5th edition rulebook errata. The 30 pull displayed as your pull do not necessarily reflect the state of the game at the moment, since you have spent some of them to bring vampires into play, unless you have found a way to regain enough pull to reach your initial 30 pull. Also, please note that there is no limit to the amount of pull a Methuselah can have. Alright. Yeah, like, it's really hard to say who's winning in Vampire at a particular stage unless someone has been knocked out. You know, if someone's been knocked out and you've got that 1 point, you are actually ahead of anyone else that doesn't have a point, even though they may have more pull than you. So this is where I think this is getting to, and there is no maximum that you can earn via pull. I've been in games where people have reached 40, 50, and on occasion 60 pull. All right. Now, 5th edition help sheets errata. Leave torpor. The cost of the action is missing. Action cost is 2 blood. So, to leave torpor or to be rescued from torpor is a cost of 2 blood, whether it comes from your vampire if they're leaving themselves out of torpor, or if they're being rescued, it can be, as said before, from that vampire, from my vampire, or split evenly between them. Yep. Alright, Diablo as a vampire in torpor. The word stealth is missing in the following sentence. Undirected +1 stealth action if you control both vampires. So if you want to Diablerize your own vampire, it's at +1 stealth. No one else gets stealth on that unless they are able to generate it. Alright, now that is the end of the errata. Hope that clears a few questions up if they were questions in your group. And yeah, see you for the next video, guys. Have a great one.